1 and 2 are done and dusted, but games 3 and 4 promise so very much. I am Stanley Greyheart Barker. I am joined, of course, by Orcs, and we are going to be bringing you, first of all, Hell Classico.
Oh, I am hyped. We had this matchup before. Diabolus came out just ahead. It was a close one, and now we get the rematch. Both teams supporting, as you said, hellish sort of backgrounds, and we do have a pretty cool graphic coming up.
It's a pretty cool graphic. It's not my favorite graphic in the world. There might be better ones out there, but...
Better one?
Better ones, I don't know. I mean, maybe one day we might even get to see an even better Hell Classico graphic. But
better one? I wonder.
Give it time, of course. Oh, that is an even better one. That is legitimately the best graphic I have ever seen on UKLC. Oh, my. And look who it's been done by. Jake, aged 5. I mean, 25.
Yeah, what a great drawing. So... thank you very much for submitting. I believe that is Jake Matthews. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Jake Hip Rain Matthews, we're being told. I'm sure he's tweeted at me sometimes. So thank you very much for your submission.
I'm sure.
Some great artwork that we love to see. You're such a nice young chap.
And you know what? I'm sure he even tweeted that into us. And if you're out there and want to tweet us such wonderful graphics like that one, showing us your skills in Paint or any other application of your choosing, hashtag UKLC, and we'll see all of them.
Be sure to tweet us. If you think you can do a better job than Jake hyping up the matchup,
not possible.
It'd be a struggle.
Sorry.
So give it a go.
I'll tell you what, somewhere out there, I feel like Marriott Chronicle Musen, he's just crying a little tear because all the artwork he ever did on this show has just been outdone in one graphic.
Absolutely, and I think that's the thing, is that there was some great artwork from Chronicler, but, you know, he never put his name and then his age on it, so can we really tell that it's his?
Alrighty, so we are going to be having a little look at the Diabolus statements. This is what happened when we interviewed some of the players and the coaches from these two teams. First of all, the Heathen from Diabolus, he came out and said, everyone placed us as the worst bot lane in the league. I didn't mind as I had nothing to prove and everything to gain.
Yeah, I got to respect the mentality. A lot of players, when they see themselves low on the tier list, they get frustrated, but he just sees it as a way. He has everything to gain, and he has no expectations, and that's something that was a bit rough for teams like Excel last split. A lot of people had a lot of expectations they didn't deliver to. But Diabolus so far, they've exceeded the bar everyone set for them.
You mentioned tier lists there and all of the pro rankings that were going on before the season started. And in these particular interviews, the teams didn't want to take shots at each other, instead taking shots at the people who are writing those rankings. And we can see that as we look at the Demise statement.
I think the tier lists we're wrong, and we have already proven it from Nia. That is the coach for Demise. So basically calling out everyone on Twitter who made a tier list. So if you made a tier list, then they're calling you out personally. Obviously, I know nothing about tier lists. I don't think
those things.
I've never made one in my life. So clearly not addressed to me. Looking at you guys, right?
Okay, so we are going to have a little look at our must-watch matchup, and it's going to be up in the top lane.
Yeah, Zyko against Khan. So for me, this was a situation where both of them have had some great games, some great solo kills, but also some performances where I was like, I'm not so sure about that one, but I feel like that's why it's a matchup to watch, because it could go either way. Both of them have shown they're willing to pick things that can carry a game. We've seen great flanks come out from Kakan and solo kills onto, I believe it was Zizzle Shen, but I'm not 100% certain. But then also Zyko on that Yasuo is monstrous. So I want to see them both picking carries, both trying to pop off, and it should be pretty hypey.
Of course, the last time that we saw these two teams go at it in Hell Classico of Volume number 1, it was, of course, Diabolus who came out on top, and it was Kakan who was the victor in that top lane matchup. He'll certainly be looking to do the same today.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, is that there is a lot of pressure between these two teams because they're sitting in similar areas in the rankings. I believe Diabolus is slightly ahead, but they're both trying to prove to themselves and to everyone else that they can make it to this top 4, because Diabolus, they were a top team last split. They made it to EU Masters with number 1 in the regular season on points. And I feel like a lot of people, you know, they were talking about the tier list, have ranked this new roster a lot lower, so they're looking for a chance to prove themselves. And speaking of the devil, it is the roster for Diabolus.
Here we go. We looked, of course, at the top lane, having Kakan, but in the jungle we've got PFI, Fury in the mid, Dragdar and the Heathen will be your bot lane.
Yeah, so a lot of people had low expectations for this roster coming out from previous split, but they have exceeded it. And another roster that's exceeded expectations is Demise. Zyke on the top lane, Hidden Jungle, Vixen mid, then Vox and Vigo, who are the AD carry in the support, who popped off on the Garen Yuumi last week. But bad news for them. As I said earlier, Yuumi is disabled, so we won't see that this week. hopefully they have some other tricks up their sleeve.
Bad news indeed. Vigo, of course, he was one of the star players of last week, especially during that Garen Yuumi performance. However, he wasn't able to replicate that on day 2. Quite often, Demise showing that they can do things well in day 1 and falling off in day 2. Today, however, they found themselves up against the one they've lost to on day 2 before, and that's Diabolus. We get ourselves into pick and bans, and immediately Aurelia is taken out of the champion pool.
Yes, obviously I did mention the Yuumi is disabled. If you weren't here before, then Yuumi, Kiana, and Mordekaiser are all disabled for a myriad of bugs, so we will not see them in this draft. Everything else is on the card. So, and very quickly, the Yasuo actually banned out by Demise, which is interesting because I know Fury can play it. He had a great game of it, but it is a big pick for Zyko as well, and he has 2 major picks that we attribute to him, and that is the Aurelia and the Yasuo, and they're both already off the card, so I'm guessing he has something else up his sleeves. And then very quickly, we see the Nunu banned away, which is the Demise special. We haven't had a single game where it's been left open for them. And, you know, these teams must have a good reason for it.
No opportunity for him to get his hands on Nunu or Willump in this game. Of course, now we get to see the second ban coming out of Demise. And it's a grey screen. They have banned the grey screen. We're not going to have any bugs in this game.
It could be knocked in, you know? It
Paranoia.
Could be, yeah, why? Yeah. Who knows? We're guessing that they have just missed a ban out. Maybe they just feel like they don't need 3 bans, because who does really in this day and age?
The answer to that question is Diabolus, as they take away the Caitlyn.
Yeah, so they take away the Caitlyn. Will be a denial pick from Demvoxnate. This was banned so much in the promo relegations, which Demise used to get into the UKLC. Consistently banned away from Demvoxnate, and this has not changed right now. We'll deny that one off the card. Still a lot of picks open, though. Things like the Soda, which you saw so much success on. The Lulu's open, the Aatrox. I mean, not the Lulu, the Lux is open, the Aatrox. The Siva has been taken off the cards, but I could definitely see Diabolus looking towards things like the Aatrox or the Lux on this first pick. And the big one is that Nico, they do start off with a hover on the Aatrox and will be locked in. So this could go to the top lane or the mid or even the jungle. But if it is a top lane pick, that's a pretty good standout pick for Kakana to start off on.
Yeah, of course, UKLC has seen so very many Lux pickups so far, but it's not going to be the first pickup this time. Instead, we're going to see the counter pick to the Aatrox. Well, it's not really a counter pick to the Aatrox, but the first pickups from Demise be the Kai'Sa. Will we see a support locked in alongside it? As you say, the Lux is there, the Karma is there, but instead, no, it's a Nico.
Yeah, so this is a pick that Zyko played in that last week. It was one of the picks that had a successful flank on a feeling. He had a rough laning phase. It didn't really come online until later, but he did start to perform pretty well in the team fight, so we wanted to pick that one up as well. It could be flexed. It could be mid or top, but that is a pretty powerful pick wherever it goes. Pretty high ban rate across the board, and now it goes over to Diabolus. Lux still available. They will look for the Olaf for PFI, and I just have to wonder what they will secure to back that up.
Olaf was seen so much during last week's play. I don't believe PFI played, though I could be wrong on that one. However, he's certainly going to get himself on the Berserker on this particular occasion. It's going to be the Ezreal picked into the Kai'Sa. How do you see that matchup going, as we don't know the supports, and that might not be true now we see a Nautilus?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of safety is the big thing, and you're going up against a Kai'Sa Nautilus lane. That's a lot of engage, especially if you ult as a Nautilus. It's so easy for the Kai'Sa to follow up, so Ezreal offers Dragdoll as safety, and he is someone who has liked to play safe champions. In week 1, he loved to play the Sivir, and he has also played a lot of Ezreal, so he likes to farm up, scale up, and be effective later on. He is looking for the rest of his team to really pull the punches, really throw the punches, sorry, I don't want to pull the punches. And we now see the second rotation of bans come in. Morgana taken off from Diabolus, which again would be a safe pick for Heath in the bot lane, and then the Camille, no longer a possibility for either Zyko or Vixen to play. A lot of flexibility, which would make it tricky to know what you're going up against.
It's still tricky to know exactly what's going to be coming out of the Demise pick so far, and also the same can be said for Diabolus. We don't know if we've seen a mid or a top laner. This is, I believe, why we're seeing mostly supports being banned out. The Karma and the Morgana, as you were saying there, both removed from the pool. They will not be there. Lux still available. I'm going to keep saying Lux until it gets locked in.
I'm surprised to not see it being picked up at all. It now goes over to Demise in the second rotation. I expect them to pick a jungler up here because it still keeps a lot of flexibility.
That's not a jungler, that's a Fiora.
Okay, so 2 things to take into account here. 1, Fiora is the Korean counter to Aatrox. It's what they pick into the Aatrox. They think the matchup's really good. It outscales as well as being punished in the lane because all the sweet spots, you can proc your riposte off and then stun him. And then the other thing is we came into this assuming that that's a Kai'Sa AD carry. I have seen people play Kai'Sa jungle a little bit. There's been fringes off it. Spirit played it over in Create and solo queue, so it's not 100% a Kai'Sa AD carry, but we do see the Kennen and the Lux locked in. So that means it's likely going to be the Aatrox mid. So will it be a Fiora mid?
And of course, Dan, what it means is I can stop talking about the Lux pickup now because it
Finally.
has been picked up. Someone else has read Hitbrain's guide that's out there somewhere and is going to be able to play that champion to its fullest. It's looking exceptionally unlikely that we're going to see Kai'Sa jungle as much as I would have loved to have seen it because the Jarvan is the final lock-in. The champions have all been drafted now. Coach and Nier have done everything they can to help out their teams, and now it's all about what happens on the Rift.
Yeah, now the tricky thing is going to be the swaps. Because the ideal situation for Diabolus is that you have Kennen into Fiora and you have Aatrox into Nico. But just because they're locked into those does not mean that they're going into those lanes. We could very much see Vixen go top lane on the Nico and Zyko take the Fiora mid. It just depends where they play out, but I absolutely, Demise want to have that Fiora going up against the Aatrox if they can make that a possibility. And for now, looks like they will keep champions in that order, but we'll have to see whether they stay in those lanes when we get into the game.
This is exactly the thing. Even if the summoners have selected exactly which champion they're playing, we don't know exactly which lane they'll head into after all is said and done. Whether or not the teams actually are looking at that and saying, just as you are, this matchup is more favorable to us, can we play this around? You start to play a bit of a double bluff game. Diabolus must be looking at it going, oh, they know this, so we're going to go over there now. We could end up with both of the mid laners in the top lane as they try to call each other's bluff.
Absolutely, it could end up in any variation, which is why I think the most important thing going into this is a level 1 information. Good warding, good coordination, potentially a very deep invade could lead them to know exactly where the enemy is going and make judgment based on that. But until we see that, I guess it's just a guessing game. The interesting one to talk about that we can talk about is obviously that bot lane. The Kai'Sa and the Nautilus obviously a lot of engaged potential, but they will suffer up against the poke coming out from Ezreal Lux. A lot of burst damage, especially once they hit that level 6. A lot of poke ability, but they are vulnerable to a gank if the Jarvan manages to make his way there. So that's the big thing to look at. Irrespective of where these lanes end up, I want to see both junglers being proactive because Olaf and Jarvan, definitely early game focused junglers.
So at the beginning of the week, did you have Demise or Diabolus in your predictions?
Diabolus.
And based on the current team performances and on the drafts as they've been executed, would you change that now?
No. I'm going to say no. Oh, actually, you know what I've just thought, which makes it even trickier. Diabolus can't tell where Fiora is because there's 2 Fioras if you look at the minimap. I can't even tell at this point. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming because there isn't the... yeah, that's the Nico in the top lane.
Well, there we go. Fiora finally has been revealed to be, well, to us, to be in the top lane, not, however,
in the mid lane, because it's Nico on the top.
I don't know anymore. Yes, you're right. You're
it's
of course
confusing.
right, Hawks. And this is just going to be a nice, slow, steady start. People deciding not to look for any kind of early level 1 plays.
Yeah, we just have a couple of Twitch comments, Twitter, comments popping up, just showing support to our lovely guest, Dan Greyheart Barker. So, yeah. I appreciate him being here too, so thank you, Twitter, for appreciating that as well.
I'm glad you appreciate me being here, because earlier on you were saying you only had 1 friend. Well, I'd like to think that now you've got 2. Now you do need a spare ticket to
Now I
Twickenham.
do need a spare ticket. I need to enter that giveaway. Do you think see things start off? So actually, Demise have had the favorable matchup here. They have the Nico into the Kennen, and they have the Fiora into the Aatrox. Thank you, observers, for switching that over, so we will know exactly how the lane matchups are going. But Nico into Kennen, I believe, is slightly Nico favored. I'm not 100% certain on that.
It's certainly a lot closer than if we'd been seeing the Kennen into the Fiora.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kennen Fiora, this is the Korean counter matchup to play because obviously you can dash around and proc those vitals. It's very difficult to hit a sweet spot on a Fiora, and even if you do, the riposte will make you regret it. So that is a favorable matchup that Demise have found. Top lane is just sort of more of an even standings.
A nice, slow, steady start as Hell Classico starts to slowly boil up to a crescendo, and Zyko and Fury having the most of the trade so far. Of course, you know all about slow build-up games after that last thriller that we had.
Yeah, that was definitely a slow build-up, but there was a lot of pressure being applied, and eventually it just came too much when we saw that Sona pop off. But here and now, I think it is honestly Demise looking to scale up and get the later stages. A lot of champions from Diabolus are going to spike in that mid game and be very powerful then. But in the later stages, I would much rather have the likes of a Kai'Sa and then a Fiora who can split so well against the Aatrox. And actually, It comes in.
Flash forward from Vigo, and it's going to be first blood secured by the Nautilus. He puts the ignite down after the flash, and the substitute jungler Hidden was there to consistently apply the pressure that all leads to first blood going to Demise. The start of El Clasico has definitely gone well for them, both in the lane swap and also with the first blood.
And it just shows how caught off guard Diabolus were. No summoners even used from Heathen. A great gang from Hidden. It's exactly the start that we wanted to see. Said it before the game. Ezreal Lux have so much pressure in the 2v2, but if you gank them, the Lux is very easy to take down.
While all of that was going on, Olaf has been helping himself to jungle captains on the top side of the map, going for a little bit of aggressive counter jungling. Jarvan going to lose out slightly on the CS. Fortunately for him, he was obviously able to help his team out with that first blood.
Ooh, and this is just typical of how the matchup is, why it's so painful. Fury can't really do anything. It just feels like Zyko has always got the upper hand, and when finally that sweet spot lands, or the Infernal chains, he gets stunned in return. It's not a fun matchup, and actually, if I showed up to help him shove in, that's how difficult he's finding this. And I think the plan may well be for Fury to recall and head top instead, because right now he is not enjoying things up against this Fiora.
And that is exactly what it looks like he's going to try and do as the recall comes in. Let's see which lane that Aatrox starts walking towards. Certainly looking like mid lane at the moment. Will we see any little plays coming out of Diabolus? Of course, we have got teleport on both the mid laner and the top laner in this game, as well as if you like teleports, it's a good one for you because there's one on the Ezreal as well.
Yeah, and Riot did nerf teleports, a bit longer cooldown, but still everyone is taking it. And the big reason why is because of the favor towards skirmish metas. And actually, Khan does go low.
Vixen forcing that dash out of Kakan, who is so very, very low. Has got to be so careful, and here is Hidden again, using that sweeper, clearing out the vision, meaning that at all times, Diabolus bot lane are in danger.
Yeah, absolutely. And now both top laners will be looking to recall. Both have TP if they want to get back. The big thing it's so powerful in this meta is because of the emphasis on skirmishing. So a lot of teams like to look for these fights, and if you have a TP advantage, it will put numbers in your favor, and it can lead you to getting tower platings, which will push your gold lead ahead.
The control ward was finally cleared out, so now there is absolutely no vision for Diabolus down in the bot side of the map. We have got Ocean Dragon on the plate, but it's going to be ignored by now for Hidden. Fury getting a really nice deep ward down, so he's going to have a bit of awareness of what the Demise jungler is doing.
Khan going for a pretty heavy trade. Does now have the Vamp Scepter. I do believe he'll still go towards the AP build, just building into that Hextech Gunblade, which means you're a bit stronger in the 1v1 laning. But for now, it means he has some lifesteal, able to take these trades with Vixen and then heal up afterwards.
Zyko once again dashing out of the zones that Fury is putting down. Dragon has now been started, not by Demise, instead by Diabolus. He's not got himself any kill participation just yet. However, PFI is going to make this objective all his own.
Yeah, that's a big thing you do with the Olaf. You know, it's very easy to solo these objectives. You get lower on HP because they do a lot of damage, heal it more. And honestly, an early Ocean at 6 minutes is arguably the best Dragon for the early stages. It does so much in the laning phase in terms of that sustain. And the next one will actually be an Infernal, so I feel like that's a pretty heavy transition. Early Ocean's great, but Infernal is the late game scaling.
Yeah, the Ocean early on, just second as Fury is going very, very low. The Grand Challenge is going to be issued by Zyko. Does have the flash available, decides not to take it. Instead, getting the Demonic Ascension out of Fury. Not going to get any kind of reset on that one.
Yes, it does force the ult from both parties, but Zyko comes out ahead in terms of HP. Does shove the lane in as well, and now he can move over and support Hidden to get the Skull Crab if he needs be. He fights in the area though, and I think that's a big reason why he didn't opt to go for that kill.
A lot of this right now seems to be about Diabolus doing their very best to keep eyes on Hidden. He obviously got caught out there by the Scry's Bloom.
It's great that his name is Hidden. They're trying to keep the eyes on him, and he's trying to keep Hidden. It works so well.
It certainly does. What doesn't work quite so well is Kennen, who's taken a beating so far, losing a lot of his health, dashing forward, looking to maybe get something going on with the Olaf, but Vixen is very, very aware and doing a great job of staying safe.
I think that's one of the advantages that Nico has over the Kennen, is that if you fight when there's a minion wave around, the Kennen can't really do that much. You can't land his shuriken, whereas the Nico can just fire through the minion waves. And actually, it makes your route even stronger.
Meanwhile, the continued abuse in the mid lane as we see Aatrox consistently pushing this lane up. He might have had a little bit of a struggle up against Fiora earlier, but he's not fallen behind on CS. He has, however, fallen behind on sword zoned.
Yeah. You know, there's 4 swords for Zyko, only 2 the Fury. And actually,
Can you hear me?
he's combined them into a hammer, so he's now 4 swords to 0. That's pretty heavily favored towards Fiora. I've actually now picked up the Vamp Scepter, so a bit more sustain, which I think is important, because that's really where Fury will win out, because there is so much innate sustain in Aatrox's kit. But Zyko does win out in the all-ins. Although, being a short lane, it is hard to find them.
Who are you more scared of, Orcs? Are you more scared of the man with the scepter and the 3 swords, or the giant hammer and a shield?
I think I'm more scared of the hammer or the shield. You can't wield that many swords, realistically.
Use your feet.
I mean, if you can do that, then power to you.
Meanwhile, Zyko showing that he really can wield all these weapons to the full extent once more, issuing the grand challenge once again. Fury having to back off, this time not having to use his ultimate, which is just as well as it wasn't available. The Flag and Drag is going to land on 2. The Killer Instinct goes forward. We're going to see the Cataclysm ducked out of by both the Heathen and Dragdar. They tried to return a kill. Vigo gets himself the 2nd kill of the game. Dragdar not quite able to snipe off Voxney.
Yeah, it got very close there, but then Voxney does manage to survive with the use of the heal. And now Zyko actually in trouble here.
He's in a lot of trouble if he gets pulled back, but a nice use of the riposte is going to keep himself safe. The axes will not connect, and that's going to be Zyko keeping himself out of danger, which the Diabolus bot lane once again couldn't do.
Yeah, it was good moves coming out from Zyko there to evade that. That's why the matchup is so favorable. 3 members wasn't enough, but 3 members was enough for Heathen in the bot lane. That looks is the vulnerability in that lane. Ezreal has some ability, but the Light Mage does not.
We do see that Kakan has come into the mid lane now, going up against this Fiora, the matchup that maybe Kakan wanted right from the beginning. Meanwhile, Fury cleaning up the wave, stopping too many turret plates being taken early days by Demise.
So, we are seeing a play here.
Here comes Hidden, has the Flag and Drag available. The dash already used by Kakan. He does have the flash, but he's going to get knocked up, pulled back. He's going to get rooted. He throws down the Slicing Maelstrom. Is it enough to keep him alive? Teleport is coming in the back. Kakan has managed to stay alive. He's still got the flash if he wants it. Fury looking to try and get some kind of pullback. Vigo in so very much trouble. He's going to get shut down. That's Aatrox picking up 1 kill. Hidden goes down as PFI takes down his fellow jungler. The Pop Blossom lands onto 2. That's going to be the stopwatch used. The Heathen picks up kill onto Zyko. Now the lasers. Final spark does not quite connect with Voxney. A 2-for-1 in favor of Diabolus. They are right back in the game. A 3-for-0.
Yeah, just huge coming out from Diabolus, and Fury was the big one who set it up. He gets the recess on the Aatrox, and that is the advantage that he has over the likes of the Fury. And the split push, sure, I 100% give it to Zyko, but in those team fights, if you get the resets, this Aatrox will take over, and that's what we saw there and then.
Really, really nice rotations across the map. It looked at first like Demise were the ones making the sneaky play. Diabolus turn it around perfectly, and they benefit as they get a Herald on the back of that fight as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So more and more going in favor of the side of Diabolus. It now is going to be what can PFI do with this Herald to find advantages. It was a bit of a weird lane assignment coming out before, but now we see Dragdon Heathen reset, and they're heading straight over to that Infernal Dragon that was spawning, and that's what's got me concerned about Demise's current lane assignment. Actually, Dragdon's heading top. This is interesting to me, because that dragon is up now. I personally would want to put my bot lane closest to it. We will see that play before, so the knockup comes in, and Kakan does such a great job holding this flash here, because he knows if he flashes, the Cataclysm will come in. So now the TP is what comes out, and Fury goes straight into the fight. Vigo is basically a free reset for him, but that sweet spot actually interrupts Hidden's knockup, and he's just able to rain so much damage down. The Pop Blossom does some work, but Fury has his passive stack. No way he dies here, and then Voxney and Vixen, they manage to get away, but on low health bars.
Massive credit to PFI as well. That flash over the wall really helping him to get into the action as quickly as possible. Now he's there just securing himself a 2nd dragon of the game. This will be an Infernal. Meanwhile, Pop Blossom used by Vixen defensively purely because Fury was getting right on top of that Nico.
Yeah, and Diabolus still managed to get the dragon. They didn't need the bot lane there. Does mean, however, that Demise can look at this top lane tower. There's 3 against 2. You do not want to stay up and risk losing your life again, because Heathen died enough this game by all means.
Still 2 minutes left on the turret plates. First turret is possibly going to drop in the top lane, but the Herald has been put down in the bot lane. This is going to give all that extra gold to PFI and to Kakan as they look for a bit of a race for turret first blood.
Yeah, and with Dragdon Heathen there, they might be able to... No, they're not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to defend that tower. So first tower blood will go over to Voxney and Vigo. Bit of extra gold to their side. But Diabolus should be able to equalize that shortly, and the advantage they got is that Infernal Dragon on top of that.
Of course, that is going to mean a gold lead of 500 now for Diabolus. They've also got the 2 dragons in the pocket. All that extra damage that's going to be put into Ezreal as he fires out shots later on. Kakan is playing this game so bravely, stepping forward, knowing he has complete security with PFI nearby.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's in a really favorable position because now he has that spell vamp, he has that lifesteal. He is able to walk up at Vixen and just trade with him, and he will heal up. In the side lane, Kennen is in a great situation. And Fury, because of that extra gold he got, he's now feeling confident up against Zyko, although Fiora will still scale into a monster. So the game isn't over yet.
Of course, this has been dubbed Hell Clasico. These two teams somewhat the bad boys of the UKLC, but so far the plays have very much so been good. Let's see whether this intensity continues. I can only imagine it will, as this game stays balanced on a knife's edge.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing, is that so much has gone on, and it's still very close within gold. Only 300. Yes, the dragons are a difference. By all means, Demise, having that Fiora and that Kai'Sa, they need to get through this mid-game without giving over too much to Diabolus. If they can get an advantage, that's even better, but they have to be cautious because Ezreal recall now, starting to finish off some of those core items, and it is really this mid-game point where I think Diabolus, their composition starts to come online, and they will seem almost unstoppable. However, Demise definitely have tools at their disposal. If they get a good amount of AoE CC on the back of that Pop Blossom, on the back of that Cataclysm, they can win a team fight. You have to be cautious.
Sorry, Ezreal there completing the teleport, coming back into the mid lane to just clear up as many of the minions as he can. He has got quite a CS disadvantage up against the Kai'Sa, who's already got the pickaxe. There is an 800 gold lead for Kai'Sa, as we can see there.
Yeah, and the big thing with that build path is having the Mirror Mana, not the Mirror Mana, the Mana Immune, and then also the pickaxe means that you will have that evolved Q. I don't think he quite had it yet. But as he just queued that, it was only 6. So I think he needs a bit more mana stacked up before he has that evolved, but he is pretty close.
2v2 was brewing up in the top lane, but the Jarvan was wise to what was going on, does not get himself caught out between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, or in this case, a tiny Yordle Ninja and a Butcher.
Yeah, and obviously big asset to Kakan, having that solo ninja. No, I'm not going to do it again. I always do these teamfight tactics jokes every time. People are obviously sick of them by now.
I think my favorite thing I found out about teamfight tactics is that I'm going to end up ranked higher than Kasing. Meanwhile, in the top lane, it's going to be the Grand Challenge issue. Slicing Maelstrom has so very much damage. Kakan flashing away from the riposte, not going to get stunned up with the flash in return. Zyko getting himself the solo kill, absolutely styling it out.
Yeah, and Kakan did as much as he could, try to find all that damage and avoid the riposte from the side of Zyko, but unfortunately the Fiora was too strong, managed to get all the vitals, and that is how you win any all-in with Fiora. Find the vitals, get that heal, get that damage. Great play coming out, and Devox now has to heal to evade Fury's engage.
They go not quite landing an anchor, which could have begun an interesting engage in the mid lane. Not necessarily one that Demise would have wanted, as they were in a 4 versus 3 situation.
Yeah, absolutely. But the big thing is no teleport available for Zyko, so wouldn't be able to join that one. They have strength in that Fiora in the side lane, but right now, in the team fight, I give the edge to Diabolus, and they are pushing up mid with that strength. Any bit of CC coming out from the Heathen that lands is almost certainly going to mean death for a member of Demise, so Vixen has to be a bit careful here.
Turret plating is, of course, long gone, so no extra gold apart from if the side of Diabolus are able to take down this turret, which they are not. The defense coming in from Nico and Jarvan. Nico already showing her wave clear prowess.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the big strengths as well, is that even if you're not necessarily able to fight someone, you can clear the wave out with that AoE.
Seeing there that it's going to be a second Infernal Dragon coming onto the Rift in just a few seconds' time. So far, it looks like Demise have got themselves set up around it. They've already got the control ward in the pit, and they're clearing out all of Diabolus' vision.
And this is a tricky thing, is because by no means you want to give over a second Infernal to Diabolus, but they are a mid-game composition. However, I think that the items at their disposal aren't really in a great situation because you don't even have the Mirror Mana coming out from Dragdar. However, they are looking to take a fight here. PFI might look for a steal.
Kakan does have the TP available, but it's only going to be the final spark that goes through, and it is going to be hidden who gets the Dragon. Now, the question is, can Demise find a fight on the back of this? Nice use of Fury. CC is going to make sure the fight doesn't happen just yet, but Vigo flashes forward. Pop Blossom's not going to land onto anybody. Multiple knockbacks as the Cataclysm is actually going to trap him. Zyko finds PFI, but here comes Kakan. Vigo goes golden. How long will he live? Not very long. Fury picks up one. Zyko now caught between 4 members of Diabolus as they find Fiora and they delete her from the map.
Demise tried to make the engage work, but Diabolus just kited them out, and it was a perfect opportunity for Kakan to come in for a flank. Demise got the dragon, but they lost the team fight, and now they lose their mid lane tower.
And now the gold lead accentuates in favor of Diabolus. Yes, that scaling damage is going to be leveled out for the two teams, but was it worth it, Demise?
I'm thinking not so at this point. Tower is taking damage. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to take this one.
Vixen possibly going to step forward, but no, that's just going to be a clone going towards Kokan. Of course it is. Silly Greyheart, why did you ever think that he was going to walk blindly into 2 members?
You know, I still fall for that when I see a Nico. I still have those times where I'm like, wait.
I'm glad it's not just me.
Why is that person mid lane? I thought we were lane, and then like, oh, it's Nico. I still almost always just fall for that, and I'm like, oh. Whenever I do, I just think, oh, I'm so dumb. But, you know, it happens. It's tricky. You see with your eyes, you judge it in front of you, and you're like, wait, I see a Kai'Sa in the mid lane. Surely it's got to be a Kai'Sa in the mid lane. But no.
Oh, I'm feeling much better hearing that that's not just me that one happens to. State of the game as we approach 20 minutes in just a minute or so's time. The Baron, of course, will be coming onto the Rift then, but right now things looking good for Diabolus. They've had their foot on the accelerator for the last few minutes. Despite losing out that Dragon, they've been picking up kills regularly. They've got a nice CS lead up in the top lane, where the last time that we looked at the gold, there was already a 1,000 lead for Kennen that you can only imagine is ballooning even further in Kennen's favor. Yeah,
that team fight absolutely helped them. We'll have a bit of a look at the gold. His advantages over the Fox on this Kai'Sa and obviously scales really well, but mid-game spike is huge for Dragdor once he gets that fully stacked mirror mana. His advantages on the bot side of the map over Demise, but if you look at top and jungle, massively in favor of Diabolus. I mean, obviously Kleptomancy Kokan helps out with that, but also having a pretty significant CS lead and a ton of assists, not too much to complain about. And there is obviously 1,000 gold lead in the jungle as well. Diabolus managing to get some gold advantages. Do you see Zyko looking for this?
There is a big gang squad coming down. Fury wisely stepping away, otherwise he could easily have been caught underneath his own turret.
And I'm going to quickly ask if our observers can check how many stacks each of the AD carries have on that mana immune. If they could get back to us on that, that would be very useful, because I am wondering. I'm not sure if I hear this. Observers! Stacks on mirror mana, stacks on the mana immune.
Voxney arrives behind her enemy, not in time, however, to stop the turret from going down. That is going to be 4 turrets to 2 in favor of Demise.
Okay, thank you very much. Beautiful
what was the answer?
It was 600 on Kai'Sa and 723 on Ezreal. So very close to having that fully stacked mirror mana coming out from Dragdor. And I feel like that's when Diabolus will want to pull the trigger and make things go. Because then they will have a very strong AD carry. You look at Fury as well, he has that Death Stance fully stacked, makes him a lot bulkier than you would think. I think this is the time where they want to start taking fights. And yeah, just as we were saying, it has fully stacked. Still a bit longer for Kai'Sa, and he has picked up that Lost Chapter as well.
What we have here in Hell Classico is 2 teams who are both trying to prove their critics wrong. We heard it in the statements earlier on. They did not like seeing those power rankings. Demise, of course, a team who are coming to us new this season. Diabolus, a team who made their way a lot further than some people expected last season. They'll be looking to do the same as Demise continue to look to build on wins that they've got earlier on. They each have to start with each other, however. Only one of these hellish teams can win today.
Yeah, absolutely. And it means the end of the week if you lose here. You are out. You have to wait until week 4 before you can get any points, challenge any more teams. So obviously a big hit for either side. And with it being so close, it almost feels like we'll be robbed from seeing these teams play more. But one of them has to win, one of them has to lose. Right now it is looking Diabolus favored, but that Fiora farming up the side lane is absolutely a concern for me, and I'm sure it is a concern for Diabolus as well.
Third Dragon will be coming up in just over 30 seconds. Didn't get an opportunity to look at exactly which one we're seeing next, but if it is another Infernal, you must imagine that it will be contested heavily.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's not Infernal just from how the teams... I'm just hovering a guess, but if it's an Infernal, I don't think the teams would be like positioned like this. They would be surrounding that Dragon like, we want this badly, but
So what do you reckon, Ocean based on the position?
Yeah, I think Ocean would be a fair call. It's either Ocean or it'll be one of the other 2.
Well, we'll see in a couple of seconds' time. Meanwhile, Zyko is continuing his push in the bot lane. Fury has constantly been under turret for the last 3 or 4 minutes. He's had to kind of counter push rather than himself being able to push, despite the fact he has a bit of an advantage in terms of those kills that he picked up.
And that's difficult in this matchup, especially because Zyko scales so well. Ooh, that was a lot of damage.
It certainly was, and Zyko immediately proving my own statement wrong, because he himself has 2 kills. He has a CS advantage, his items are looking strong, almost completing that Trinity Force, and we just saw what he could do to the Demon if he steps forward.
Oh, and Diabolus are setting up to try and take this tower.
Teleport available for both Fury and Zyko if this 4v4 bubbles up to a big fight in the top lane. However, the continued push from Zyko is reaping rewards. Guess what? Cloud Dragon, that's why we didn't see any excitement.
Yeah, understandable. It isn't that high priority, especially at this point in the game. And Zyko, he might look for this. He's low HP. I think he took some damage from the tower hits. But this is the thing, is that Diabolus absolutely want a team fight to start. and to have everyone TP in. But Demise, they want Zyko to stay in the side lane, so they will do their best to defend without relying on the Fiora joining the fight. And then she can just continue to punish this Aatrox because Fury is monstrous in these team fights, especially when he gets resets. But if he's trapped in the side lane in a losing matchup, it's not going to be a fun time for him or Diabolus.
As the game goes later and later, if these two teams stay even, if we see the scaling champions reach their pinnacle, is it very much on Demise to have that split pushing Fiora as their win condition?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that in the 5v5 team fights, the edge is still over to Diabolus because they have the likes of a Kennen and an Aatrox who are just so strong there. But you have a Kai'Sa who can be monstrous. And the big thing as well is that Fiora, I just don't see anyone who can handle in the side lane because she solo killed Khan earlier. She's in a favorable matchup against Fury. If she gets more and more items, it's going to be can Diabolus force a team fight, and then it might even be tricky to win because they're going up against the likes of a Kai'Sa, of a Jarvan, of a Nico. It's not just a free win if they force a team fight.
Red buff stolen away by Diabolus as they bravely go into the Demise jungle, perhaps still trying to force that fight that you're talking about, Orcs. They have got themselves all 3 teleports back available, so they can choose who they want to send to counter-push Zyko. 2 teleports, of course, for Vixen and for Zyko, so they themselves still have got a lot of pressure. They've now sent Nico into the bot lane. She's about to find Kakan, who immediately throws down the Slicing Maelstrom. Put Blossom in response, but it's just not even a little bit helpful, because Kakan has just 100-0 that Nico.
Yeah, the shield didn't even come in from Vixen, did not find enough time to get that to proc and just pops instantly. And now, Diabolus, they're confident to set up for this Baron.
There is still, of course, that control ward in the pit, but that will immediately be removed. Zyko is hovering around. He is going to be able to look for a pincer movement, but meanwhile, Kakan continuing the push in the bot lane.
Yeah, Baron has been started though. The Demise are heading over.
Din is going to be able to throw his flag in. He throws the control ward in instead and gets caught out by Fury, who just deals 50% damage to the enemy jungler. We've still got Zyko hovering near that blast cone. We've still got Kakan pushing in the bot lane. The Baron is already down to 8,400 health.
It looks like they will back off. They have to respect the fact that Nico's recalling. They're actually going to look for Zyko here. He might be caught out.
He uses the blast cone to not complete the recall. He gets to safety and the Baron is stopped. However, that is going to be a turret secured in the bottom lane. Flash was there forced out of Ragdoll. This is going to be the teleport coming in. Nico looking to get the perfect target. The Pop Blossom's going to land onto 3. The Zhonya's is used and hidden. Gets the Cataclysm. That's going to be Den Boxing picking up 1 kill, but Aatrox gets the return onto the Nico. 1 for 1 so far as Kakan joins the fight. Here comes the Slicing Maelstrom. It's going to be Aatrox resurrecting. He gets the reset on the Demonic Ascension. Here comes Kakan. He gets 1 onto Fury. He's looking for more on Den Boxing. That's picked up by Dragda. Vigo running for the hills. He uses Anchor. The dredge line pulls him so far, but can it get him away from the cannon? The answer is most likely no, because Kakan is chasing him down, but he's going to give up the chase eventually. Vigo and Hidden run, but they're not running into trouble, are they? Oh, yes, they are. Here comes Fury. Flag and drag over the wall. There goes Fury in response. He's looking to get a chase. 1 more kill would be lovely for Diabolus right now, as they've already started up the Baron.
Yeah, they start with the Baron instantly. Hidden is low HP, but still in the area to contest. A great team fight win for Diabolus, but they want to capitalize on this objective following up. Hidden's there.
He's used his control ward just to try and get to a safe location. He gets found out by Fury. He has to flag and drag away from the Baron pit instead of into it, and that's why Diabolus are able to secure the Baron buff. They get it on all 5 members.
Yeah, and that is what Diabolus were looking for. They wanted to force a team fight. Demise are the ones who TPN thinking they have an advantage. Kakan didn't even have his ult, and still they managed to win it out. Fury just able to provide so much damage, and with that ult getting reset, they are just unable to take him down. And the thing is, Zyko is your strongest member, and he is so non-influential in these team fights right now. He can't get on top of Dragdog because of the mobility. He can't really take out Kakan and Fury because Fury's ult and Kakan's CC. You needed to keep in the side lane, and instead they get a bit greedy, and Diabolus hard punished them for it.
4,000 gold lead and 5 Baron buffs. The reward of Diabolus is patience and clever picking of team fights.
Look at that gold lead in the top lane. So much onto Kakan. 12,000, just staggering.
I mean, that's a 4k gold lead, but it's not going to be him who gets the solo kill. Instead, Fury taking out the top lane, and Nico is no longer around. Hidden use of the flag and drag and the cataclysm, but he's now locked in there with Kakan, who's already picked up 1 kill. The question is, what can he do to Zyko? He goes golden. However, the final vital surely will be proc. That's going to be the grand challenge issue. That's going to be the shutdown. Meanwhile, however, the top lane continues to be pushed as Diabolus win this war on many fronts. The inhibitor turret has already dropped down. Inhibitor number 1 is already over to Diabolus. Now in the top lane, they can turn their attention because they've got a massive minion wave. Fiora's continuing the split push, has not gone for the recall. The Nexus turrets are under threat, Orcs.
Yeah, you're going to lose the game if you keep doing this. You can't just give up your entire base to try and keep split pushing. You just take that first tower, but Diabolus, they are nowhere near stopping. They take out their second inhibitor tower, and now they're on the inhib.
Fiora says, what do you mean I can't? I will! Continuing to push, going towards an inhibitor herself. However, meanwhile, we're going to see yet another kill. Nico is now 0-4-2 because Dragdar is mashing through the health bars of Demise. Vigo will fall. Then Voxney will run for the hills. Now the Nexus turrets are going to be the target. One kill does come through as Jarvan does manage to shut down Dragdar. Fiora finally completes the recall and is going to join forces with her jungler, but they've already lost a Nexus turret. PFI is so very, very low, but he's going to be able to step himself away from Zyko. Fury in the Heathen protecting his back, running away with the Olaf, and Diabolus got so very much, Demise so very little.
Yeah, and their base is in shambles. Fiora didn't even manage to get the inhibitor, and so much has been taken. That is more than you could even possibly imagine Diabolus hoped to get out of the Baron buff, and now they still have a minute left on it. Respawns are going to come in, and I feel like they're going to head straight towards that bottom lane and try and push in and get the third inhibitor of the game. But honestly, with both inhibs down, I'm not even sure if they need to. They could just head through mid and crush Demise in a quick fashion.
Well, that doesn't look to be their intent just yet, Dan, because their Cloud Dragon is here. So if you want to do things in a quick fashion, you might as well move a little bit speedier.
Yeah, absolutely, why not? Take the dragon in case things go fair. Actually, Heathen takes the blue buff away. That one's got to sting a bit for Hidden. And it looks like they will take the safe option. They're going to push up that bot lane. Not wanting to disrespect Demise, because although they are behind in gold by 5,000, they still have the potential to find a good team fight if they get the right flank from Vixen. But for now, they are just on their defense.
Diabolus going full CLG EU, playing League of Legends, paint by numbers, taking every structure on their way to what they, I'm sure, will hope will be a victory. Things looking good at the moment, but it is only a 5,000 gold lead. And if this sort of catch happens, that will not be a good. The Guardian Angel is going to be popped. Hidden could jump in, has got the Cataclysm available, but he decides not to use it because Fury has got backup, and suddenly he has a full health bar.
Yeah, GA does plenty for him, and he's able to heal up from that Death Stance and his passive, and now they will take that last inhibitor tower. They're looking at the inhib, and Demise, this is your last chance to take a defense.
Third inhib is getting lower and lower and lower. Demise's defense seems to be sinking, much like that Nautilus statue in Oceania. Let's see whether or not this final inhibitor will fall, or if Diabolus just take themselves a fight. Can Demise do anything?
They have to go for the fight now, and Vigo seems to be looking.
They're looking for it, all right. Vixen sends a clone through the team. The inhibitor still surviving, but there it goes. All of the base is gone, save for one Nexus turret. It's all that stands between Diabolus and winning Hell Classico #2, getting their second win against Demise, their massive rivals. Hidden goes for the Cataclysm, does get it onto 2. Vixen managed to get a Pop Blossom onto 1, and that's going to be a beautiful timing of Kakarn's stopwatch, able to use the Zhonya's and use the Slicing Maelstrom, but he still gets killed by Hidden. Meanwhile, Zycon has found Dragdar. The Heathen as well will fall. The double kill for the Fiora. Diabolus did not manage to make that game stick. Instead, Demise find a way back in.
Yes, Zyko gets on top of the backline, and because Vixen burnt Dragdar and Heathen's mobility, he's just able to shut them down. I thought the game was over with all 3 inhibs down, but Demise managed to find some life, and that Fiora is huge. They will clear up these waves. 3 inhibs down means they can't really get anything from it, but a lot of XP and a lot of gold.
And that all means that they are going to get some key items completed now. We have got 2 teams who are only separated by a 2,000 gold lead. Don't let the structure stat fool you. Demise have just shown that they are still very much alive and kicking in this game.
And the big thing, when you get a fight like that, you get so much XP, shutdown gold, and the works. And now, Zyko, level 18. No one else is even close. Kakarn 17, but I believe he just very recently hit that, so a massive advantage over that Fiora, and no one can match you in the side lane. And now the Zhonya's picked up by Demboxing, so even more safety for Kai'Sa.
Teleports are all back available, and seeing how they are used could well decide this game. PFI looking to see if they can sneak themselves this Baron, which is coming up in just a few seconds. They have so much control of the red side jungle of Demise.
And this is the thing, with all 3 minions pushing with super minions, all 3 waves pushing with super minions, it's very difficult to contest this Baron. But if they lose it, it could make a base defense almost impossible.
The only dragon we didn't see this game was Mountain, but it doesn't matter at all because this is still going to be an objective that goes over so very, very quickly to Diabolus, completely uncontested. Demise having to clear super minions away from their last remaining Nexus turret will give up the purple buff.
Yeah, and now the only way Demise find their way back into this is with a fast fight. If they wait for all 3 super minion waves to push in with Baron buffs on them, there's just no way they can deal with the minions and Diabolus. So they need a quick fight. I feel like I want to see a TP flank come in as soon as possible with Vixen and Zyko leading it. That's the only way they're going to find a defense here. There are wards up. There is potential for this, but they have to act fast. And actually, as I'm saying, there's 2 inhibs respawn, so they're actually in a pretty good position.
That's a massively important thing for Demise. Let's see whether Diabolus can quickly remove those structures once more as quickly as they've respawned. Will they fall? So far, the match of the day, El Clasico has delivered a 33-minute epic so far, and it's still got more to give as Zyko tries to step forward, not quite catching out PFI. Vigo, however, is completely locked down. He's removed from the fight before the redemption come in. The final spark goes through. 2 kills already, but here comes the Fiora, managing to take out the Olaf. The Pot Blossom is absolutely wonderful. Here comes Zyko. He comes back from his GA, but then he gets taken down, and that's going to be the game. The ace is there. Demise bravely fought to the last, but Diabolus are going to be the team who, for the 2nd time, take down their rivals, winning El Clasico number 2, progressing to day 2 of week 3.
Yeah, and what a performance. Even with this huge Pot Blossom from Vixen, it just was not enough, and Diabolus, they claim victory once again.
It was a really fantastic performance from both teams. However, Diabolus, they found themselves a lead, and at the end really were able to stick their foot on the throats of Demise, and that was enough.
That last team fight, it was hard to tell who was winning. Vigo got caught, and then the Pot Blossom Slice and Maelstrom came down, and I was like, oh, this does feel like Established favorite. And then the Pot Blossom, I was like, this is it. They're turning it around, but it just was not enough. Not enough damage coming out from Vixen, and in the end, Diabolus still managed to find the victory. It was shaky at times. Demise definitely put up a good fight, and I think it shows why this was our matchup of the week, because it was so darn close.
It really absolutely was. I mean, I can't find any more superlatives for how good that game was, and it's one that if we do happen to get a El Clasico number 3, you can only imagine Demise will come back with even more fire to try and pick that game up.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that they gave us a very good match, and I think they have to be proud of that result, especially considering that Diabolus are one of these storied rosters of the UK, made it to EU Masters represent the UK before, so to have such a close match against them, you have to take some positives away from it, but I absolutely know they will come back wanting to fight even harder, because to lose isn't ever going to be a good feeling. You can always take positives from it, but I know Demise, they will want more from this matchup.
And you're a happy man as well. You got your prediction right, despite slightly wavering earlier on at the beginning of the game.
I was confident the whole time, absolutely. You know, every second on the way, I was like, no, I know who's going to win this, 100%.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got it totes right, so please remind me never to say the word totes again.
Oh, you know, kind of do. And actually, I believe if Fnatic hold the tower, I will have caught up on Hip Rain, which is all I need to do, because having him at the top, it's... I don't think it's not just disappointing for me. I think it's disappointing for the UK scene as a whole to have Hip Rain as the top analyst. I think a lot of people, they tune in, they see the predictions, they see Hip Rain at the top, and they're like,
no.
Something's wrong here.
No, I'm not going to have it. I'm sticking up for the play-by-play.
He's glaring at me.
We know what we're talking about. Our predictions can very well be spot on. I had to do a shared prediction this week because tomorrow you got another great guest coming on as a colour. And I want to say that I got the prediction right for the last game, which nobody else did, but it didn't go on the screen because Saga had his way. Just saying.
That's rough. That's rough.
Yeah. Feel quite vindicated feeling picking up the last win. What an absolute game that was. Let's focus on this, because we've just seen a performance which now really elevates Diabolus. You talked about them getting to EU Masters last year, somewhat a surprise package, and now, contrary to what's been said by the power rankings, which, as we saw in the statements, they're not happy about, they keep finding themselves.
Those tier list people.
They keep on finding themselves on day 2, keep finding themselves pushing up the tower.
Yeah, and absolutely, they've had a really solid performance, and do believe we have an interview now for one of their players. It is the Heathen.
Righty. So we're going to get to bring the support of Diabolus in, get to ask him the top analytical questions, like, do you like pineapple on pizza?
Well, I don't.
But you're not the Heathen, that's why we're not asking you.
True, that's fair. Do you like the pineapple on pizza?
So we're going to bring you the Heathen live onto your screens any second now.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey guys, it's going good. What about you?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty hypey matchup. So obviously, you beat Demise before. It was a pretty close one this time, but you beat them again. Did you feel super confident going into this matchup?
Going into yeah, I feel like we were the better team by far. Playing it though was a whole different story. I was kind of inting bot lane. Had a few too many deaths that game, but I feel like we had control of most of the match. Our rotations were all right. We played to our win condition and stuff. So yeah, I'm happy with the result, and we were confident throughout the game, even though it didn't show in my performance.
You say that even that you were confident throughout the game. What was the feeling like on comms as you lost that fight by the bottom inhibitor and Fiora looked like she was going to start turning the game around?
Kind of frantic for a bit, but we managed to get it under control and to just chill and talk about the next objective, what we wanted to do, and how we wanted to win the game from there. But they were quite panicky for a second.
So obviously you said that from the tier list, a lot of people rated you on the bottom end in terms of your strength as a bot lane as a team. Is there any, how would you rank yourself and which team would you like to rank yourself above and potentially beat and prove that?
Ooh. Myself, I'd say top B tier, low A tier. Didn't show it in this performance today though, but I feel like I'm one of the better supports in the league. I've yet to show it, but that's what I feel. As a team, I'd say top 4, perhaps top 3 on a good day. I feel like our competitors are M&M. That's the team we really want to come up and beat and be better than. But yeah, we'll see tomorrow if they win the game, whether or not we can beat them.
That's some fighting talk. Dahivan, thank you very much for coming on, taking some time out. Congratulations again on your massive win.
Cheers.
So there we go. That wraps up game number 3 for the night, but we still have got one more to go.
Yes, still got one more match, and we had so much hype, so much tension, and there's still more, is the crazy thing.
Always.
And
that's the joy of UKLC.
Absolutely. There's just more games than you could ever possibly hope for, and it will be a pretty hypey matchup, especially since Diabolus, Heathen just talked about how he wants to beat M&M. We will be seeing them play in the next game up against Envision, and if he wants to beat them, they're going to have to get through Envision first.
Well, we will find out after this short break whether or not that will happen.